We're sitting in one of our wonderful spaces with a really generous and lovely location owner, Craig. This is Wharf Studios. Just a little bit about the space, and then we'll crack into talking about your wonderful film history. George Nettleton is an actor, so we'll be chatting about film locations today. So Wharf Studios, it's an award-winning studio here in London. It's won the Meeting Space of the Year through Peerspace 3 years in a row, so it's pretty good. It's a former Printworks. There's 2 studios, so there's a 1,200 square foot studio, which is where we're sitting in now. You've got multiple different spaces and setups here. We're sitting in one which is often used for podcasts. It's a fantastic space. And then there's another studio through there, which is 1,000 square feet, natural light, blackout capabilities, and also amazing gear that you can hire, such as the cameras we are using today. So we've got a Sony FX6, which is this one here. We have a Sony A9 III, which is this one here. And we have a Blackmagic Ursa Cine LF, which is this one here. And also something else which is really cool about the space is it comes with all this lighting, which is on movable rigs for people to set up, take down, and set the space how you like. So that's where we're sitting today.
Fantastic.
A little bit about you, George. You're a London-based actor, writer, friend, and voiceover artist, and proud Yorkshireman.
Very much so.
And the reason I wanted to get you on this podcast is because we wanted to talk about film locations from the actor's perspective. I'm an actor as well. That's how we know each other. We worked on one of your plays, actually.
Yes, a little while ago.
The reason I wanted to get you on this podcast is because you worked on a film last year, which was very location. I want to say focused.
Yeah, no, absolutely it was. It was,
not just because you got to leave the UK and go somewhere you've never been before with acting, but also because of the film using locations in such a specific way. So if I'm correct, you played Chris in Ring of Fire for MCK Pictures.
Yes, I did.
Can you tell me a little bit about that process? And
yeah, absolutely. So Ring of Fire, the premise of the film is it's all centered around travel influencers. So, these are people that they make their living by going to these extraordinary places and taking videos and photos and, making travel movies or stock footage content.
Yeah.
Exactly. Content creation. So the premise of the film is, it follows a handful of those individuals, a young newcomer called Oscar, a slightly older, wiser. I'm not really sure, given what he does in the film. Older hat of in my character Chris, and it's all about the fun, but also elements of dangerous stuff that they get up to.
are you like a group of influencers, or you're like...
We're individual influencers that come together as a group to collaborate.
Right, yeah.
On this epic adventure to, help some locals, travel to a volcano, essentially. And we all think it's a brilliant idea until we get there. And various things start to happen. Not to give too much away, but... There's a volcano. If you know anything about volcanoes,
right? Okay, we
stuff will happen. Yeah, but the whole film was, obviously because it was so.
Did you film in close proximity to like?
Very much so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We will get to that.
Yeah. Do pray to that.
So because locations were such a major part, they're a character in themselves.
Yeah.
The director and producer, a husband and wife team, Carmela and Michael Kirkering, they themselves are travel influencers. They made their living doing that for a decent number of years. So it's kind of like semi-autobiographical. But they had the conversation of, we could hire a studio in Hollywood with a green screen and wind machines and fog machines and everything, or
are they American? Is it based
they're American? Yeah, they're from LA. I say they're from LA. They're based in LA. They're from Florida. But they said we could do that all for a fraction of the cost, we could just fly everyone out to Indonesia and do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Which is what they ended up deciding.
What a dream for you as an actor.
It was fantastic. Yeah. And the brilliant thing from an actor point of view is I very nearly didn't get to be a part of it.
Okay.
Because it was one of those things that I sent the audition tape off, didn't hear back from them for months.
Yeah.
And then I get a call one morning from Michael saying, you auditioned for this like 4 months ago. The guy that we had pegged for the character, he can't do it anymore. Can you...
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching, yeah. Can you send me a new tape?
Yeah.
Sent him a new tape. Within 12 hours, I had the role. And 2 weeks later, I was flying off I had to uproot my entire life, fly off to Indonesia for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And, got to stay in Bali and Java, driving around, getting up at 2 a.m. to hike up volcanoes and get, sunrise shots and all sorts. And it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
What was it like? Because for you being a London-based actor, UK-based actor, all of your filming and acting work has otherwise been kind of, well, in the UK or in studios or whatever. So what was it like? And I don't just mean in like an exciting sense of, oh, George, yeah, I'm in Indonesia. But being like, I mean like in the sense of being somewhere that's so foreign to what you're used to. And then how did the location and space affect you differently, if it did at all, compared to being
just here in the UK? It massively changed. So much. I've worked on in studio spaces before, in those kind of like big green screens. And there is an element of you have to work harder as an actor. Your imagination has to
the imaginative leap.
Yeah, much more.
Yeah.
You're not talking to a tennis ball. You're talking to this big monster.
Yes,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
When
there's so much scope for that to go wrong.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, absolutely. Like, and often I don't know if people listening and watching may have, if you're an actor and have done this, you may have an idea of what it is in your head, and then you get to sit down and watch the film, and what they actually have put on is completely different, and your performance, you feel like your performance is wrong because of it. Because if you've known
the tennis ball is actually going to be
instead of this 3-headed monster, it's actually a little bunny.
Of course,
I would have acted differently.
Yeah, be like, come on, director, give me some direction here.
Exactly.
But yeah, sorry.
But to be able to be there, there was we spent a couple of days in a national park called Bromo National Park. It's this it's at around, I want to say it's something like 8,000 feet up. It's above the cloud essentially, but it's this massive nest of seven or eight different volcanoes.
Right. Are they active?
Yeah, they are very much active. And to be able to be there and not have to imagine the sunrise and the black sand desert in front of us and the mountain range and the smoke. Literally on one of these shoots, we were up the volcano. We got all the shots done for the day. On our way down the volcano, it started erupting.
In a dangerous way?
Not in a dangerous way, thankfully. It was the one that we were very, very careful. The last thing that Michael wanted to do was put us in actual danger. So the main volcano in Bromo is a sulfur volcano. So it just pumps out smoke. It doesn't actually...
Stinky.
It's very much. Like, it was interesting trying to... That was an interesting challenge of like, big emotional scene, smell of eggs.
Yeah.
But,
true. Everything's a gift. That's what they always tell us.
Absolutely. The imaginative leap and the scenes where we would go around these massive waterfalls, hundreds of liters of water a second falling down, not having to conjure that image, having the sound, the smell there was unbelievable for the performance element.
Puts you into presence. Before we sat down, I was speaking with Craig, who runs Wharf Studios or Silverstein Locations, And he was sort of asking, oh, what kind of shape will this take with actors and film locations? And I was sort of thinking about it, and really, like, for me, and I think what you're sort of touching on here, correct me if I'm wrong, film locations, like you said, it's like another character. It's like a costume in a way, in some elements. It just, being on location, the space, the energy of the space, the sound, the smell, the resonance, like all of it, it just puts you into presence
completely
in such a helpful way. Just as wearing the costume or whatever. And I think like a lot of stuff is done in studios with green screens, and that's really such a skill in and of itself. And I've not had much work myself as an actor. I've only recorded with a green screen once. And fortunately, it was quite an emotional scene. So emotions are something as well. I feel like when you're in a heightened state of emotion, that forces you into presence too. It's a gift for that as well, because you can't be preoccupied with other things, because you're like, I'm feeling this, you know, and so I'm very focused. So I was fortunate in that regard. But if I had to, my skills and experience aren't there yet. I know that if I had to do green screen work for something more casual, I would find it so much more difficult to bridge that imaginative leap, that when you're on a location, it's also interesting too, because depending on how you approach acting, you prepare for your scene, for your work, and that's not on location. That's usually in your house.
In your house, in your living room. Yeah. So there is an element of you're using that imagination anyway.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And then you step into the space for the first time, and it's like, whoa, it unlocks something, and you're discovering things that prior to that moment, you're like, I didn't even have any idea that it was going to go there, because you prepare for the possibilities of where it could go, but then when you're there, it could be, goes off in a random direction. Absolutely. There would be times where we would, you know, it was a lot of driving between, you know, locations, because again, we were using the entirety of the island of Java and Bali. So often we'd get up in the morning, do a scene, and then get into the car, drive for 8 hours, and do another scene at the end of the day. And so that 8 hours, it was interesting.
A lot of the prep time we had plenty of. But it meant that, you know, we would often get there and be like, oh, this is very different from the car runs we've been doing. Just being up out of a seat, and again, the smell, the sound, the people walking to and fro, and the little moments of discovery and magic that came from that. Complete, you know, with green screen, because it's a studio setup, and you know, there is an element of doing the post-production at the same time as the production with green screen. Like, you have to be mindful of where the camera movement is, so that it tracks with everything else. So it becomes a little bit more clinical, I guess. If I had to, you know, put a word to it, I don't know if it works quite, but
I wanted to come back to something you said and like sort of wax lyrical on it a bit. The location as a character. What's your sort of thoughts on that? Like, that's something that rings very true for me as well. And the more that I've been working in film locations, the more I appreciate that element, and especially working with location managers, where you have location managers and you have location managers, but like,
sound like you're speaking from experience.
You have some which it's just like, all right, bish bash bosh, in and out, this and that and this and that. But then you have others which really take this creative process of like, it is like a character in the scene, and they're thinking, when they're choosing the space, it's not just like, oh, okay, any old thing. They're thinking, kind of, whether it's conscious or not, because they're taking this approach of the location being another character, they are also helping the actors, again, whether it's conscious or not. They're choosing places which, if it's thought of in that regard, you're going to choose somewhere which will affect the actors when they walk onto the scene, because they're thinking, oh yeah, and the sound of this, and they're taking all those elements in. And for me, that's what makes a really great location manager. On top of all the practicality things and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, unravel your thoughts with location being a character, if you have any sort of.
I mean, it comes down to when you. Just trying to figure out how to phrase this without sounding like a complete strange
safe space
person. Safe space. At the end of the day, it's trite, but every frame is a painting. And the really great directors and producers and location managers will know that and set up a location to be that.
Yeah.
There's everything in the screen will tell you something about. So if you're in like a character's bedroom, what books he has, where his books are, whether the bed's made, whether there's is his desk tidy or is it dirty? There's so many little cues that as an audience you kind of gloss over, but they do impact you and take on.
Yeah.
So when you bringing that to locations and these bigger locations, especially like in Indonesia, there'd be times where we would be at this waterfall. I remember very specifically, actually, it was one of the very first shoots that I did. One of the very first scenes I did on this shoot. We went to this waterfall that had a unique like sun trap element, like between the hours of 10 and 3.
Can you explain what you mean by sun trap?
Oh, sun traps. Yeah. At a certain time of the day, the sun would shine through
rocks.
The waterfall
Okay.
at a specific, to create these like god ray things like beams of light, if you will. But that tells a story, and we used a lot of that as like transitional B-roll footage for like to cut to at poignant moments, but that created an atmosphere of wonder.
Yes.
And that atmosphere of wonder then translated to not just to us crew and in the cast, but into the characters and into the elements of the story that we were telling and the emotional beats of the.
And I suppose that's only something that was discovered once you were there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it can be used.
Words on a page or words on a page until, you breathe life into actor talk, excuse me. But the fact that we were able to breathe that much life into them because the elements that the location brought to us, as all the way back to saying it's a scene partner itself. It's a wonder, the things that the beats that it will give you. There was one time we were doing we were on the top of a mountain and we were doing a scene, and it was this big dramatic scene, and unbeknownst to us, we out of the corner of my eye see Michael just go. He's like holding in this massive like scream of adulation. Like something's clearly this scene's going great. He's really loving what we're doing.
Stay in it.
He calls cut and he goes, in the middle of your scene, that volcano in the background started erupting like grey smoke at the exact moment it needed to.
Joy.
And I'm like the serendipity that can come from being on location. And sure, you could do that with a green screen. But again, it becomes artificial and contrived and to the whims of the team of people that made the CG, and then the team of the people that review the CG. And there's so many layers of contrivance to that versus the it happened so it happened element.
But just to sort of bring it back to the space that we're sitting in now, again, before we sat down, I was speaking with Craig, and the sort of, if I was thinking about the character of the space that we're in, being an old print works, it has this very quintessential, for me, East London sort of vibe. It's not in East London, it's in North London. But it has, I equate that to, that's an East London thing for me. And when you're outside, there's so many of these sort of spaces dotted around. And I've been in quite a few because I live in one. But when you're outside, there's this element of like, I don't know what's going to be behind these doors when it comes to kind of old factory spaces or warehouse spaces. And we were sort of saying when I came in, I had it, and Craig was expressing, like, clients as well, when they come through the doors here, there's this real sense of serenity that is felt. And so it's no kind of, and this like moment. So for me, there's no wonder that it's won these awards with Peerspace, with the sort of meeting place of the year 3 years in a row, because it has the character of this location is something which feels very like serene, peaceful, professional, and slick, which is why it's great for podcasts and why like meetings and things would be very nice here and whatnot. And I just think like every space that we represent has its own character. And then with location managers or the people who cultivate these spaces, when they have an eye for seeing what that kind of like with casting directors, when they look at an actor and they're sort of like, oh yeah, he's that one. Yeah, because he's got these elements and these qualities, and that's going to be what that character needs. The exact same way with spaces, like if you were able to look at your space and be like, oh yeah, I can kind of see this and this and this, and you move towards that vision, then your location is a character. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if it's a studio in North London or it's a volcano in Indonesia. Everything has its own, energetic quality to it that whether you're actors or whether you're anyone coming into a space, it's going to affect you differently and put your sort of flavor, your presence, your here and now in a certain way.
Yeah, totally.
And just like when you're interacting person to person or interacting character to character, you know, that also will affect the sort of interaction going on. And it has the same effect, location to person, if that makes sense. That's that character.
Completely. Yeah, no, it's I've worked in, so aside from the Indonesia film, I have worked on a couple of films in various other locations. One film in particular I did, we were filming in this tiny, it was essentially like a museum piece. They'd found a old medieval village and it was a recreation of it. Yeah. And we were filming there. And it was literally like you stepped through into this old wicker hut with, you know, thatched roofs, dirt floor, straw in the bed, and you know, the smell, and the texture of it, immediately impacted the character and the story. Because on the one hand, you know, you can dream up I am this character and I work in the field.
Here's the volcano right
here. And then being there and smelling it and feeling the ground rumble and the heat and the heat and the stars and all sorts. The being there and the being present of it. You know, we're told as actors always to try and be present in the moment, especially on film, because the camera can tell the second you go from this scene to, I wonder what I'm having for lunch.
Yeah, or like, am I doing a good job?
Yeah. Oh god, that little demon of like, emote more.
Yeah, oh my god. And then your eyes, you become like,
and then you get the terrible note from the director saying, do it again, but do less. Yeah.
That's the most hot.
Do it again, but better is the worst direction.
I worked on something, and my note all the time, so it was way back. My note all the time was, just flatter, be flatter. And at some point I was like, run me over, because I'm like, bowl me down, because there's no saving me at this point. Like,
oh god. So one of my favorite can't remember who told me this. One of my favorite bits of direction I ever got was, "You're giving me shades of autumn, I want spring." And I went away going, what the hell does that mean? And this, bless him, this much more experienced actor just tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Just look at the script, nod, make a thinking face, take this pencil, scribble something. Doesn't have to be anything, just a line.
Yeah.
And then do the exact same thing that you were doing." I went and did it, and he went, "See, that was perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Moving on." It's like,
wow, life lessons.
Wonderful. Life lesson.
Life lesson.
Yeah. Like, smile, wave, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you so much, George. Thank you for being here and chatting about your film and the location element.
Thank you for having me. I hope it's been wonderful, and it's a fantastic space.
Yeah, no, it really is. We wanted to choose this space. I mean, we don't really do a podcast. We just thought it'd be something fun to do.
First time.
And we wanted to do it in this space because it's such a great podcasting space. And Craig, you said you get a lot of podcasting clients. So I think we need to shout Wharf Studios from the rooftops for being podcast friendly and just super friendly in general.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, George. Thank you.
Thank you.